Good afternoon, guys. My name is Shautsova. I'm an immigration attorney from Brooklyn, New York. And in today's video live presentation, I would like to share with you and talk to you more about TPS, Temporary Protected Status, what it is, which country was recently designated for it, and what's the significance of TPS, why it's important to file for it if you qualify. And I will also provide you some updates regarding the local news relevant to those of you who are in New York. And of course, hi Novelat, thank you for joining me. And of course, I will also answer your guys' questions if you're going to have some questions for me in the end. So again, thank you for participating. You can say hi in our live chat. Hi, Sami. Hi, Nelly. And I will answer your questions after I'm done talking about the TPS, because it's kind of a big deal. So what happened recently, hi Julia, hi Rikman. What happened recently is actually just 3 days ago that Haiti was designated for TPS again. You may know that some people who are in the United States already have TPS status if they are from Haiti, because the first time Haiti was designated for TPS, well, in the recent history, was in 2010, right? And it was connected to the natural disaster. It was a horrible situation in Haiti, and that's why nationals of Haiti and those who were not citizens but resided in Haiti before coming to the United States were able to get temporary protected status in the United States. What is temporary protected status? It's a form of deferred action. Basically, it allows somebody to stay in the United States, be protected from deportation. Also, you can get a work permit and travel permit. You can travel. So what's good about it? What's good about it is that in certain states of the United States, when you receive TPS, it also acts as an admission, that inspection or admission that is necessary for you to file for, let's say, adjustment of status. If now you have an immediate relative who can file for you, and previously you couldn't file for adjustment of status because you didn't have a legal entry. All right, so just much more than simple protection from deportation or work permit. For some people, it can be a life-changing event, and it can help those people also sometimes to file to reopen their old removal orders, which is very, very important. Because one of the things that, let's say, Board of Immigration Appeals is looking at, if a person is filing motion to reopen their old immigration order, is what are this person's chances to adjust their status in the United States. And sometimes for those who cross the border do not have visa, they didn't have a visa when they were coming to the United States. Now when they have this TPS, they can satisfy that requirement of being paroled or rather admitted, but not everywhere in the United States. That's how strangely it works. It's not for everybody. Unfortunately, it depends on where you reside. So if you reside, let's say in California, you will be able to use TPS as an admission. But if you are in New York, you can't, right? Nevertheless, it's a great relief. What also is important is those people who are from Haiti and those who already have TPS status need to apply for it again, okay? That's what the announcement said. They said that to avoid the gap in coverage, you will have to apply for it again. So who can apply for the TPS if you are from Haiti or you resided in Haiti previously before coming to the United States and you don't have nationality? You need to show simply that as of May 21st, 2021, you were in the United States. With or without status, that doesn't matter. With or without order of deportation, that doesn't matter. But you were here as of May 21st, 2021. So if you're going to come to the United States now, not going to happen. You will not be able to use TPS, okay? Only if it was May 21st, 2021. And of course, you need to pass background and security checks. Certain criminal convictions will disqualify you from the TPS. That's very important. TPS, as I said before, will give you an opportunity to apply also for work permit and advanced parole. And basically, if before you try to file for it and for some reason were not successful, you didn't qualify, you missed this registration period, now you can apply again. So when will you be able to apply? We do not know yet. What happens is that first comes the announcement, and the actual notice with the deadlines and everything will be published later, all right? But I expect it to be published a month to 2 months from now. So just keep your eye on that, follow up with your attorney, and this will save you again from deportation. It will provide you work permits, social security you will have if you don't have it, and if you have TPS now from Haiti, you will still have to apply. So this is very, very important. Burma is another country that was recently designated for TPS, and the announcement came in March, I believe March 12th, and applications for the TPS are going to be accepted starting May 25th, or today. It means that it took them a little bit over 2 months, just a little bit over 2 months to publish and give you the deadlines when to apply, okay? And by the way, for the Haiti TPS, you will be able to apply within a 180-day window. I'm sorry, this is for Burma TPS, 180-day window up until November 22nd, 2021. So this same rule will be applied for the Haiti TPS, Haitian TPS, when it's going to become available. You cannot just wait forever. They give you 6 months, and the earlier you apply, the better, because I've seen some old cases where the person simply didn't attach the right documents and lost the chance for TPS. You do not want to be a person like that, right? You want to be a person who gets everything on time. Hi, Randy. Hi, Lutanda. Hi, Jose. Hi, Delight. Hi, Walter. So what else I wanted to talk to you about? I wanted to let you know about local updates. For those of you who are in New York, and actually it may be relevant not only for New Yorkers, but immigration courts are reopening, right? At least they're planning to reopen immigration courts in New York starting July 6th, and other locations too starting July 6th. What are we going to expect? Are we going to go in person? Are we going to be operating telephonically? I think we're going to start operating telephonically because many courts do have standing orders about that master appearances will be done telephonically. And also, if you have a lawyer, chances are your master hearing is going to be canceled anyhow, and you're going to receive a scheduling order instead. What it means is that if your lawyer files his or her notice of appearance prior to your master hearing, at least 15 days prior the court receives it, they will cancel the appearance in the master hearing and instead are going to send you a scheduling order with deadlines as to when your lawyer and you supposed to be submitting documents to court. And the first documents that you will need to be submitting will be pleadings. Pleadings are very important. It's your answer to the allegations against you in the notice to appear. And what happens is that if you miss that deadline, chances are you may be automatically deported, all right? And the problem with that scheduling order, because I started receiving them recently, what happens is that you receive it 2 weeks after the date of the order, which allows you only for 2 weeks to 10 days to submit those pleadings. Not 30 days as it says in the order, because you lose those 2 weeks in the processing time, I guess. And you better be ready, all right? You better be ready with those pleadings, with the information necessary for the pleadings. You have to have your notice to appear ready and documents, because otherwise, you don't want to be again in the situation where you're not ready. All right. So that's what's happening with the master hearings and courts in general. Another very, very important thing that's going to happen in New York. If you are somebody who already have an order of removal and you need to report to ICE, you know that during the pandemic, you probably did not report to ICE, right? You were maybe telephonically you were reporting. So now the ICE will expect you to appear in person. That's going to be the default rule. They increase the number of people who are working, at least in New York, and you are expected to appear in person. And you cannot miss that. You know that. They can only waive your personal appearance if your lawyer asks sufficiently in advance about that. Not like a day or two, as I said, but sufficiently in advance. Just keep that in mind and be ready to, appear before ICE. And perhaps maybe you'll be filing for administrative stay or removal application or something, but you need to know that now you have to show up. And now if you guys have some questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And I think I'm looking at different directions when I'm talking to you. It's because I think my camera is funny, but I'm going to fix it next time, okay? I'm trying to look in the camera, but then I see it looks somewhere else. All right, so let me see if you have some questions for me. Hi, Lutanda. Any news concerning essential workers? Not much, really. I read some news that they're pushing for more security at the border, blaming Biden that he's inviting immigrants to the border, which it doesn't make any sense to me. There were always immigrants at the border, but, politicians, they will also always be using this situation at the border against somebody, okay? But not much news in terms of, at least I'm not aware of anything that's being in progress yet. I know that that proposal will have to travel through different avenues. And in terms of if it's going to be used in reconciliation, I have not received any information yet. I tried to look up some fresh news, but there was nothing interesting except for the TPS. Hi, Ahmed. I'm from Egypt. I entered the country on the ship with no visa, 2001, and I have a son, 14 years old. Is it any way to do my papers without going to Egypt for a meeting? I guess you're referring to the interview. No visa with a ship. Was there no visa or there was C1D visa? It makes a big difference because if you came on a C1D visa, you will be ineligible to certain applications in the United States. And perhaps you were advised that you would need to try to go for the waiver. But I'm going to tell you that if the waiver is granted, right, if the waiver for unlawful presence, I-601A waiver is granted, and you don't have other potential, potential inadmissibility issues, let's say fraud, this is a very common one, or another common one that people kind of overlook when they're preparing for the entire process is claim over U.S. citizenship. Okay, if you left your information as if you're a U.S. citizen on Form I-9, or maybe you filed for the driver's license at some point, there's a birth certificate showing that you're a U.S. citizen, the waiver is not an option for you. I'm going to tell you right now, your visa will not be granted. You're going to be stuck overseas. So I'm not sure I can answer this question. I think you should consult with a lawyer because more information is really, really needed, okay, to give you accurate advice. And of course, when we communicate like this via Messenger, it's just general information. It's not a really reliable consultation just because I have just a couple of seconds to answer you guys' questions. But hopefully you will be pointed in the right direction, and then you'll be able to find that good information that you need. And again, the best way to do it is to consult with a good attorney who can review your file, which is very, very important, guys. You always have to have a copy of your file if you had any previous immigration history or could have had some immigration history. Hi, G. How about El Salvador? Well, there was no new announcement for El Salvador, but I hope maybe they will have it, okay? Just because they did it for Haiti. And by the way, when they're announcing this new designation for Haiti, they said that they're doing it because of social unrest and security concerns. Why it's important is because previously there were arguments by certain sides saying that TPS is appropriate only when there is a natural disaster. And when there is social unrest, it's not appropriate. But it seems that it is appropriate. So if there is a social unrest and general high security concern, it's possible that El Salvador will be redesignated again, which will, of course, help many, many people too. Hi, Sandir. Adjustment of status pending since 1 year, and I didn't. Any date for interview? Do you know why? I do not know why. Your date, I do not know you, unfortunately, or your case, but over a year is not that long. I'm going to tell you that. Over a year is not that long at all. And I've noticed that there are big delays for someone who previously received asylum. Okay, so if you're somebody who had asylum and filing for adjustment of status based on that, you may be experiencing delays. In terms of the adjustment of status based on marriage interviews, usually you guys are waiting for a little bit over a year now, I would say. Yes. Hi, Elvis. Anything with marriage cases? No, just regular processing. I didn't notice any big changes as they would relate to the marriage cases specifically. You still have to get prepared, still have to show evidence of real marriage. Maybe a little bit, you have to wait a little bit longer. Hi, Alina. Any updates regarding individual hearings in New York Immigration Court? Unfortunately, I didn't look up any specific information for the New York. I believe New York was operational, so you should be following your lawyer's advice, and you should check when is your next appearance, okay? If they are closed for non-detained hearings, I believe, just like the rest of the courts, they may be reopening on July 6th. But again, you have to check with your specific court, all right? Because I usually focus on New York. This is where majority of my cases are, of course, and that's what I am keeping an eye on. Hi, Quelly. I did my biometrics 5 days ago. How long will I take? How long before you get your work permit? You are very impatient. 5 days ago, it means they just started processing it. So it's hard for me to predict. It also depends on what basis is for your work permit, okay? If it's a regular adjustment of status based on marriage case, I would say within 30 days, if everything goes well, you should get it. Hi, Lutanda. Normally, when is the reconciliation budget passed? Does it take more than a year to be passed? Well, I don't think it takes more than a year to be passed. I think you're more interested in the situation with the immigration reform and what's going to happen, if it's going to be included in that or not. You see, it's a hard question because of the politics, right? And because of what I've noticed, like less interests all of a sudden. Let's focus on immigration. At least that's how I feel. And if we don't keep the pressure up, they will just put it on a shelf, right? Because they will find some other grounds to deal with. I've seen some laws about the fires in California, which, don't get me wrong, very important topic, but basically it allows congressmen to focus on something less controversial for them than immigration, even though I don't believe immigration should be controversial at all. We all understand that people need some sort of relief. So I do not know, guys. I don't think anybody can predict accurately when, at any point, any immigration bill can be passed, okay? If somebody says, I think it's going to be within the next month, that's not true. I don't think anybody knows, you know? All you can do is just to follow the immigration news, make sure you do your homework, you're filing taxes, you're cleaning up your criminal history if you had any pending cases, you are otherwise staying in check, you don't pick up new criminal cases, right? You get a copy of your immigration file. It's very, very important. No sane lawyer is going to touch your case when the time comes if you don't have your immigration file, because they do not want to make your situation worse. You may have something that will preclude you from filing for the immigration relief altogether. So that's what I think you should be focusing on, and always follow advice of reliable source, okay? During times like this, in the past, there were a lot of some kind of funny people showing up saying that they will take money from you and will give you 100%, will grant your case. But listen, you need to ask if it's a person is a lawyer, because when a lawyer, they have to follow not only the rules, they have to follow ethical rules too. and if you want to save some money, go to paralegal. That's usually end up poorly. It's a bad idea. All right, just use common sense. Hi, Alina, is TPS work for those who applied for asylum and for Indians? Not for people from India, because it's only for people whose countries were designated for it. But if you are also filing for asylum, let's say you are somebody from Burma who filed for asylum and waiting, and now you can file for TPS, yes, you can do that, okay? If you have status, no status, you can do that. Hi, Shandisha, any updates on DREAM Act? Zero updates, unfortunately. Maybe soon. We will hope so, right? Hi, Ahmed. Oh, you're welcome. Hi, D. Is USS relaxing the adjustment of status policy manual? No, not really. What happens is that for certain applicants, the interviews may be waived, but they always were waived or could have been waived prior to Trump administration. Who are those groups of people? VAWA applicants, SIJS applicants, special immigrant juvenile applicants, employment-based applicants. Who else? Well, there were some parents. If you're sponsoring your parents, those groups traditionally could have avoided USCIS interview based on marriage. I've heard some people say that, but I never heard from reliable source that the interviews were waived. Only maybe if the person was first sponsored on a fiancé visa. Okay, that's what's happening. Hi, Randy. I have a granted I-130. I got deported to Trinidad. So just forwarded my case to NVC. I'm trying to figure out when do I file the waiver and do I file the I-45. You will not be able to file I-45. I-45 is only for those who are in the United States. If you are already outside of the United States, you have to go through what's called consular processing. And you will need to submit your DS-260 form. You will need to submit your documents to the National Visa Center. And then they're going to give you an interview date. For the interview date, you'll have to submit the originals of the same documents that you already submitted to the NVC plus medical exam. Chances are you're going to show up for the interview. They will have to deny your case because you've been just recently deported, meaning that, I think recently, right? 10 years has not passed from the time of your deportation. Plus, there may be some other issues, okay? Maybe some other issues. Because under certain grounds of deportations, the issues will be always, okay? And there may be a waiver or there may not be a waiver available. So what's going to happen is that this is how it works. If you can file for the waiver related to the order of deportation, you come to the interview, you get denied, and then you file for the waiver. Some people say, but it says that I can submit a waiver in advance. It says that, right? It says the forms, I-212 instructions, they do say that you should be able to submit application for admission in advance, but it doesn't work this way, okay? In my practice, you can submit that only after you get denied. But listen, you can try, if you don't worry about your fee, you can try doing that. Anything about the U.S. Citizenship Act? Zero yet. Hi, what about U visa? Well, U visas are great if you qualify for that. It also takes forever to receive, but currently there is a litigation going on that people who may have U visas or have actually U visa petitions pending are protected from the removal, which is a big thing, okay? They should be actually, they should give you an opportunity to apply for this U visa relief. But what happens is that it's taking so long, USCIS, to decide that they started just deporting people before they can get the decisions, all right? So, I don't know. Any new waivers for falsely claim of U.S. citizenship? There are very, very limited situations when a person who is claimed U.S. citizenship can avoid the consequences. Basically, it's a U visa. It's a special immigrant juvenile, and well, maybe T visa, S visa, things like that. That's usually the case. Okay, perhaps cancellation of removal. In the terms of a cancellation of removal, you can do that, but they're going to be looking at your good moral character, and it may play a role in that particular situation. Hi, Mani. Hi, Noor. Hi, Lena. What does it mean, no hearing further? This is a question. Can you give me more information so I can answer that question? Hi, Mary. Any way to help a person who left USI after completing high school but would have qualified for DACA 10 years ago? Unfortunately, if you qualified for DACA 10 years ago and left, you cannot file for DACA anymore. That person will have to find usually a separate ground for coming to the United States. And if they left 10 years ago, probably unlawful presence bar, if they had any, would not already be applicable to them. They may have not even accumulated it, because unlawful presence does not start to run until person's 18th birthday. Do I grant waiver for failure to comply with officer if I file for TPS? I'm from Haiti. Failure to comply, I guess you have a criminal conviction of some sort, then you will have to take a certificate of disposition and consult with an attorney, all right? Because that's very important to see how the charges ended up. What was the end of those charges? Very, very important. How, Danielle? My asylum case has been in for 7 years. Is there anything I can do? 7 years, this is crazy. I mean, I know some cases that have been pending for 6. Yeah, you're probably right. Like what, from 2014? I believe that. I don't believe you can do much unless you have some urgent humanitarian or medical reason or public concern. That's the only way to expedite or try to expedite your hearing, okay? Hi, Konstantin. Essential worker bill will include individuals who work for healthcare technology companies. I'm not sure, because it says healthcare industry. I'm not sure who specifically will be included. I understand that they keep in mind like nurses and people who have contacts with other people. But let's say if you're like a programmer or some technician, I'm not sure. It may be. I do not know. I just don't have that information, unfortunately. All right. How long does it take? Hi, Wambu. How long does it take for decisions? I went for an interview in March. Until today, no decision made. Marriage petition. March, today, well, I'm going to tell you that most cases, within 2 weeks, you're going to receive a decision. But it's most cases. Some cases, you may have to wait for 6 months, okay? And you still can get an approval. It really depends on the officer, and perhaps they're investigating something in your case. Sometimes it's related to the documents you presented. Let's say you've been married before, and again, it may not even be your case, but it may not even be your case, and you know, they would ask for the confirmation from your country of origin as to if your documents that you're presenting are real or not. That can slow down the process, but it may be just something, you know, that's maybe something else. All right. So what else we have? Oh, we have some person who is really not happy with something that I'm saying. I'm sorry you're not happy with that, but many people are. You know, because I think immigration is a very important issue, and I feel that many people in this country would like to help immigrants. And I hope this information that I'm providing will help many of you guys, at least will point you in the right direction. Hi, Gerson, I have got married, and after 1 year after being married, we have done legal separation, but we're still married here in California. And we sent jointly I-751, and they sent her a fee. I wonder what they want. Well, listen, you're probably better off talking to a lawyer about the situation. But I'm just going to tell you in general that if you filed I-751 jointly and now you're separated, you cannot proceed on the joint petition. You will have to change it to a waiver ground. The reason is because there is no option to proceed on such a petition when you guys are separated, okay? So you need to speak with your lawyer about the waiver grounds that may be applicable to you, and usually they are like this. Marriage was real but was filed but ended up in divorce, so you will need a divorce certificate. Marriage was real and you were subject to abuse, or you going to suffer extreme hardship in case if you I-751 is not granted, and that hardship had to show that it's occurred within those 2 years during which you were a conditional permanent resident, okay? But again, consult with a lawyer. Hi, Srif dear, my asylum case referred to immigration judge. I have final hearing on January 2022. Hearing date is going to move because of the pandemic. Not sure, may not be, because they are trying to stay on track to process as many cases as possible, right? Then I wouldn't count on the date to be moved, okay? I think you should really start preparing for that individual hearing with your attorney, because usually you have to submit documents well in advance for the hearing. I mean, they give you sometimes 15 days, but many judges have custom-made orders saying that 90 days, 60 days, 30 days. So keep that in mind. Whatever relief you're filing for, you need to try to comply with those deadlines. I wouldn't count, in other words, on the deadline, on the date to be moved. Hi, Alina. Hi, Nabi. I'm here in USA, 21 years legally. Can you help me? I do not know. That's why I have consultations with people. You know, it depends. It may be I can't, maybe I cannot. It depends actually what happened to you. Did you have an order of removal? Were you ever in removal proceedings? Have you ever been arrested? Do you have any family member who can sponsor you? Can you qualify for something like a U visa? Have you tried filing for something and it's failed? So it's all relevant in determining, you know, what's happening with you and if you can qualify for any relief. Hi, Kayode. How long does USCIS processes 290B motion to reopen or reconsider denial of I-45 and I-130? Well, long. I'm going to tell you that. If you file the motion to reopen, I would say minimum 9 months usually they take. And I'm just curious why you did that, because you could have also refiled your case, but I guess that's something for your attorney to see, okay? Hi, Abdil. Hi, can I apply for TPS with my asylum pending, please? I just did my biometrics appointment. I'm from Haiti. Yes, the answer is yes. You should be able to apply for TPS when it's going to be open. That application time for the TPS is going to open. You will be able to apply, and you should definitely apply unless you disqualified otherwise. All right, because for example, some certain criminal convictions will disqualify you from the TPS, right? So, hey guys, listen, thank you very much for being so active and joining me today. I hope I answered some of you guys' questions, and we'll do those lives. I guess we'll try to make them regularly on YouTube. I did a lot of them on Facebook. I know they're popular, and just keep up with the news. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Share this video so if you think it can be helpful to others, and see you next time.